Yes, the first question there was a very, very good question. You know, it says, when you do rise up, do you transfer yourself to that vibration? Is it? I think I've understood the question correctly. I spoke the other day in the room about vibration and oscillation, about light and sound. And what happens is when you migrate your consciousness to another harmonic universe. In other words, at this moment, we're living in a three-dimensional universe which we call harmonic universe 1. It's a density which is the outer realms of separation from God's source. It's an experiential reality, it's a time matrix where we lay down the strands of our DNA and we file the archives of our experience into our living memory matrix. So we have a purpose for living here in this harmonic universe 1. But there comes a time when we have accreted unto ourselves the 3 dimensions, or chakra 1, 2, 3, or DNA strands 1, 2, 3. And to observe the body here as we see the body now, we observe our body in dimension 2 from a 3-dimensional mind. But to go to the next harmonic universe and to cross, which we call a repulsion zone, if you can imagine that there are bands of containment that hold us in harmonic universe 1, then we migrate to harmonic universe 2, etc., up and up. Now, there's a repulsion zone of an electrotonal frequency band of energy that does not allow our consciousness to transcend that barrier whilst we are accreting the DNA strands and activating the chakras 1, 2, 3 in our biological structure. So, yes, there comes a time when we complete the accretion of the laying down of the strands of DNA through the time cycles that are given us within a certain sequence of, what we call a stellar activation cycle. Between stellar activation cycles is the time cycle where we're actually doing the work and the laying down of experience, creating our biological computations that represent our living memory matrix. Yes, we're going to migrate. When we have completed the laying down of strands here, we're going to migrate our consciousness up to a higher resonance. Now, the word resonance means this is the bass pulse rhythm, or the flashing on and off, the sequence of the hologram switching off and on. So down here in harmonic universe 1, if you have a look at the screen of the monitor of your computer now, the signal of the picture on the screen through a timing chip in the computer is showing that picture on and off, 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0, and it's using color codes on the back of your color guns in the old screens, and it's a sort of new technology on the new screens. But that picture is flashing off through a timing chip in the computer, and it's not a constantly on picture. It's off and on, off and on, off and on, off and on. Now that's called a bass pulse rhythm. Now the bass pulse rhythm of the human hologram of projection, if you hold your hand out in front of your face and you look at it, the image that you're projecting from your consciousness, remember your mind is all around your body, and your mind is creating your body as a projection of mind into space and time. So if you look at your hand and you're switching the computation of the representation of that hand in the morphogenetic field, you are pulsing that off and on at something like 33⅓ trillion times per billionth of a second. So the timing chip of the human hologram in this Earth frequency at harmonic universe 1 is shutting on and off the light and sound expansion, contraction, oscillation, vibration, the electromagnetic tonal signatures of the representation of the hologram at that speed. Now, for you to migrate the computation of your hologram to a higher harmonic universe, and you're pulling down higher overtones of frequency, and you're elevating even the bass tones of frequency, and you're having a harmonic resonance of an observation of a new creation in your mind of appreciation, what's happening is you're going to migrate your consciousness to a higher dimensional structure of computation with many more members in participation. Many more members participating, and therefore the flashline sequence or the bass pulse rhythm of the whole expression of the hologram is going to be operating in a far faster sequence. So it's not vibration. I want to talk a little bit about vibration. Vibration is contraction and molecular compaction. So the density that was stuck in here in this biological form, don't forget the form we're currently carrying is not organic, it's normally a bit lighter than this. We are shut down to a very large degree because of manipulations. But the regular compaction and contraction through sound. Now, the denser the object, the higher the vibration. Now this contradicts New Age teaching. New Age teaching is wrong. High vibration is density. It's a potential of sound contraction waiting to be expressed as a liberation and an oscillation of light expression. And the ratio of light and sound between the contraction and expansion of oscillation of light and sound, that's called the resonant frequency. So we have a resonant frequency here of a certain bass pulse rhythm. But when we migrate our consciousness from this particle universe into the antiparticle universe, and the antiparticle universe migrates into the particle universe, there's a crossing over. Because exactly what happens here is your physical body that you can see is your particle expression, but you have an antiparticle counterpart which is coinciding in exactly the same space-time location at a different spin and rotation of angular rotation of particle spin, and also slightly advanced time cycle. So what happens is when you migrate, say, all of the integrity of your 15-dimensional structure into a higher harmonic universe, what you're doing is you're migrating your particle universe, say strand 1 would migrate to strand 4. So dimension 1 would migrate to dimension 4 through the repulsion zone. And the atomic structure of your body would have to alter the angular rotation of particle spin to navigate and decode that electromagnetic sphere that's holding us in containment in the lower vibrational oscillatory realm called harmonic universe 1. We'd have to alter the atomic angular rotation of particle spin. So 1 migrates to 4. So particle universe 1 migrates to antiparticle universe 4. Particle universe 2 migrates to antiparticle universe 5 dimension, and 3 goes to 6. So to transfer your conscious awareness of your expression of yourself to a higher harmonic universe, you're going to be interchanging particle to antiparticle as you rise up through the what we call the repulsion zone, and you're going to learn how your anatomy is structured so you can migrate your consciousness. We're going up into a higher bass pulse rhythm, a higher frequency, where both the vibration and the oscillation are both rising to a higher frequency. So that's where the difference is. And this is very, very high teaching that we're learning through the Kathara teaching. It's not vibration that's rising, it's frequency that's rising, and the enmeshment and ratio of vibration and oscillation according to the elemental constitution is a changing ratio as we go up into the blending realms of the aurora continuum to reconstitute the elemental construction of our anatomy into a new blending constitution. It's a new blueprint of life and a whole new holographic expression of experience. It's much lighter, the density is less, and we're rising up our consciousness into an oscillatory, vibratory blending of a higher frequency of communication and a new elemental construct. So that's basically question number 1. That's the way I answer it, because it's not a higher vibration, it's a higher oscillation, it's a release of potential into experiential expansion of consciousness into higher dimensional realms. And the vibration actually becomes lower and the oscillation's higher, the ratio changes. And the elemental constitution reconfigures itself into a new form of matter. And that's what we're finding now, It's quite amazing when you start understanding a bit about this, I've been studying it now for 3 years, and a lot of the stuff we do to open gateways of alignment we're using sound tones, commands, and we sing songs. The songs are actually opening inner gateways or stargate alignments and opening outer stargate alignments and corridors of communication into dimensionalized form transformation. So we use a lot of singing, a lot of drumming codes of opening up probability lines, going back in time and anchoring probability lines and tapping them in and holding time waves, blending time waves, and there's a lot of work we do in the grid of the Earth and how the hologram is formed. You know, the hologram of this Earth, it's only a hologram, it's only energy. This frequency of light and sound, electromagnetic tonal frequencies, and they're generated through the people on the Earth. The people on the Earth, the 12 tribes, the 12 legions, their role here as the guardians of the Earth is to balance the frequencies of the hologram and to open stargates of alignment in times of a stellar activation cycle, or to balance energies for use of energy on the Earth. And that was our original purpose here. And of course, you know, we have been hijacked along the way. And many intruder race lines have come in and permeated our own genetic structure. You know, the genome of the human anatomy has been invaded by genetic manipulators and creators of a whole different species. We have been genetically modified by ancestral interbreeding and hybridization technologies that have come in over thousands of years. We have become the operatives in the Earth of destruction. Our original programming was Ascension, Guardian Host, Guardian Alliance, Templar Complex, you know, control agents to actually balance this, you know, the energy flows in the Earth. You know, so yes, if we're going to elevate the Earth to a higher dimensional frequency band, it's too late now, because the Metatronic codes and the Fibonacci series of destruction, you know, have actually overtaken the balance of the Christic codes has been overtaken by the Metatronic coding of implants and holographic inserts into the genetic structure of the guardians of the Earth. In other words, we have become corruptors of the templates of the hologram of the Earth through intruder race line manipulation and hybridization programs over thousands and millions of years. So we're actually inadvertently, unconsciously participating in the destruction of the Earth. All of us are doing it. We're vampiring one another through the codes that are lying within our own genome. You know, why do we run the agendas that we run? Inadvertently, unwittingly. Why are we vampiring and siphoning other people of life-giving energy? Why are we supplying the black hole matrix that's in the center of the galaxy? Why is that vortex energy time rip system in place, and why has it harnessed every particle on the planet? Why has it harnessed the whole Milky Way? Where does it come from? Well, these are the things that I know about. I know all about that because I've been studying it, and I found that there was one point in creation where a particular race line or a couple of race lines fell into a decaying, imploding system, and they learned technologies that would harness living systems so that they would not fall into decay straight away, but they would actually be able to sustain themselves sort of almost perpetually by harvesting the energetic fields of the 15-dimensional structure or the auric fields of other beings.